Now in this lesson, we are going to talk about how to increase your average order value, your AOV, through upselling. So in this lesson, we're going to cover ways to upsell without making customers mad, I know, and then how to upsell with print on demand and digital, because sometimes you feel like there might be some different strategies there. So we're going to go over both. 10 ways to upsell. Here we go. Number 1, we are going to offer multiple quantity options in a listing as a variation. So a lot of sellers don't realize that even though they're listing quantity 1 of an item for a low price, knowing that most people will purchase multiple of that item, they're still paying 20 cents on each of those items. When a customer selects Etsy's dropdown, quantity, QTY, and they select like 20, that means the seller is paying 20 listing fees, 20 transaction fees, all of that. So we want to get around that by offering a variation within the listing, a custom variation that we title quantity, with multiple quantities as each option in the variation. So for example, if you are selling a sticker at 55 cents, 6.5% is taken out, plus that 3% transaction fee, plus the 25-cent transaction fee, 20-cent listing fee. If you list your products in a different currency, you also are charged 2.5% as a currency conversion fee. So all of those fees are 50 cents, and that leaves you a 5-cent profit. Okay, that's not going to work. We're not going to make millions doing that. For example, if someone were to buy 10 of those stickers and click quantity 10 from Etsy's quantity dropdown, then Etsy is going to take a cut of $5, and that's going to leave you a 50-cent profit. So the way around this is to create a variation where you title it quantity and you have bundles. So you have, quantity 2 as an option, quantity 10 as an option. So a bundle of 10 stickers priced at $5.50. It's the same price to the customer. That is going to give you a profit of $4.53. So the second way to upsell is through the rush production fee. You can call it the rush order fee. You could call it the expedited production fee. I recommend having the word production in there because otherwise customers might confuse that with shipping and think that you are using a different shipping method than what they're selecting at checkout. So you want to make sure that it's talking about production, and in the description of the item, you specify that you will still use the shipping method they selected, but that this relates to production. So it brings the turnaround time from the standard 3 to 10 business days down to 24 to 48 hours or whatever you want that to be. So do not make this mistake that I made of charging a flat rate of $15 per order for a rush order fee, because some people buy 5 to 10 items, and expediting 5 to 10 items, you need to be paid a lot more than $15 for that entire order. So make sure that you have them buy one rush order fee per item. So I recommend having a drop-down menu titled item as a variation, and as the options, you're going to have listed each type of item in your shop that they could possibly apply that to. So for example, if an item takes you 10 minutes, maybe you charge $10. If something takes you 3 hours, maybe you're charging $50 for that expedited fee. So have it relate to the time that it takes to produce the item. So that way, if they're ordering 5 items, they're having it rushed, you're not doing it just for $3 an item, and you're still charging for your time. So this is kind of recapping what I said. You're going to have that drop-down menu in your rush production fee listing for them to select the product, and the time and the added cost potentially that it takes for you for production. That is how you're going to price the fee per item. So think about sometimes for a rush production, like you need to go to the store, go to Hobby Lobby and get something, like charge for your gas, charge for your time. If you're ordering something online and have to pay for expedited shipping for that supply to get to you to make that, charge for that. Per item kind of what the expedited fee should be. So if an item takes 5 to 30 minutes, I recommend charging $15 for your rush order fee. If it takes 30 minutes to 1 hour, I recommend charging $20. If it takes 1 to 2 hours to make that item, I recommend charging $30. So the rush production fee needs to compensate you for the inconvenience. Ask yourself, how much would I want to be paid if this meant losing an hour of sleep or having to wake up an hour early to do this for the customer? And with these rush order fees, you can always increase these. So maybe if you are wanting to start with a little bit lower fee for your rush order fee, and then as your time gets more valuable because your hours in the day are getting booked with all the orders and all the customers that you're serving, then up your rush order fee because your hourly wage is going up. So that shall go up with it. So the next fee that you can use as an add-on is the priority shipping fee. So I do not recommend including priority shipping in your free shipping listings. I recommend scrolling to the very bottom and checking ground shipping, so that, this is if you're in the US, so that customers are getting the slower method for free, and that's the default. And then if they want priority, they can upgrade. So you do ground or first class for free. Notate in your shop policies that you use first class and ground. So the customer needs to let you know before or ahead of time if they want their item insured. Otherwise, it will not be insured and you're not liable. So for the priority shipping fee, you might be thinking, oh, well, why wouldn't they just upgrade to that in the checkout? So many people just don't even look at the shipping method in the checkout. They just select the free option and kind of forget that the other options even exist. So if a customer tells you they need something for a deadline, I always recommend following up and letting them know, like, you selected this shipping, which means USPS estimates it will take blank days for arrival, but that is just an estimation and they do not guarantee any delivery dates. Are you okay with this? Or did you want to upgrade to priority shipping? Instead of completely canceling their order and making them repurchase with priority shipping, because if you do that, you might might lose the sale. They might decide, I don't really want to spend that much. It gives them a second option to think if they want to buy it. So by just sending them the separate listing for priority shipping, you keep the sale that you've locked in, and it allows them to pay for that shipping upgrade. So I recommend $10 to $20 for this, depending on the weight of the item and the dimensions, because in reality, you were going to pay the ground shipping or first class shipping out of the total amount of the sale anyways. So now they're basically paying the full amount of the shipping cost. You are essentially saving that amount of money that you would have paid for the ground or first class shipping label, and you're keeping that as extra profit. It's really a good way to go. So here we go. Here's an example. Let's say that an item is $50 and shipping is $10 for ground. Priority is usually $4 to $7 more than ground or first class. So if you charge $10 more for this priority shipping fee, it will cover that gap. Plus it accounts for that 9.5% Etsy fee, plus the 20-cent listing fee and 25-cent transaction fee. So you're going to break even at minimum, but you're likely even profit another $7 to $8 from having this listing as an upsell. The next option I recommend is the paint option fee. This is such a great way to upsell customers. And in just a minute, I'm going to show you my paint option fee, and we're going to see how much I've made with it. So this is something that you are going to include within all of your listings of items that either could be sold as raw/unfinished wood or material. Raw/unfinished is a good way to put it because it communicates that it's good at setting expectations about what they're going to receive. So raw/unfinished, that's a set of terms that I really have found helpful. And it also converts a lot of people to purchase the paint add-on. But so you're going to use this for items that could be sold as raw, unfinished wood or whatever material. But perhaps you know as the seller, like everyone's going to want it painted, right? Like 90% of people want it painted probably. So paint or stain is cheap. This could also be for stain. So what you're charging for is your time here, because painting and staining, it takes preparation, it takes space. Like you can't really do that in your house, right? Like you have to, there goes your garage, no more parking in the garage. Your husband's not going to be happy about that. So there's a sacrifice for the time, the space, the preparation. And if you're doing multiple coats, that takes time. So that's exactly what you're charging for. I recommend $20 because the cost of paint or stain is probably like $3 or less. So the rest will cover the cost of your time. So now let's look into how I have done this. So this is my paint option listing, the stats behind it. I've sold it 717 times, $17,000 in revenue. That's pretty good since 2019. So not bad, well worth it. If you are thinking about it, this is totally worth it. Now, if customers question this, if they say, what do you mean it's not painted? The one in the listing photo is painted. I want it like that. Explain to them that you only offer 4 to 5 paint color options in your shop. And you have found that some customers prefer to use a specific color that they have at home. So you decided to offer the paint option as an add-on so that you don't have to charge customers who want to paint it themselves for a service, the painting that they don't want. So basically you are saying that you are trying to do the customers a favor by not charging people for a service they don't want if they wanted to paint it themselves. So that's, and by citing that you only have like 4 to 5 paint options, that really kind of justifies it because they're like, oh yeah, she only has 4 options. That's probably true. Maybe people want other colors. So that kind of justifies it, just in case you feel like you have to or someone's getting a little fussy about it. So the next way to upsell is bundling within a listing. So let's say you are selling birthday party hats. Well, maybe you have the hat as the cheapest option in the listing under your variations. So like the hat is $15, but let's say there's also a banner and a cake topper in your listing photo. So you're going to offer a bundle price of like the hat and the topper for $30, the hat and the banner for $30, or maybe you can offer the total package for $50. So when people see things together, they're much more likely to purchase a bundle. So this is an easy upsell because customers, a lot of the times on Etsy, they're concerned a lot about buying different pieces for a specific event from multiple shops. Because first of all, they're not able to visualize all the pieces together. Etsy customers tend to be very visual. They want to see examples of how it's going to look. They want to know that it's, all the colors match and everything. So they're more likely to buy everything from you since your lifestyle photo is proof that everything goes well together, and they know that they will receive everything together at the same time. So this is key for people who are doing birthdays or weddings, like event planning. They oftentimes are nervous when they're planning an event that they'll have 75% of the stuff and then other things are delayed and they have to go track things down from a bunch of different shops. So by getting everything from you, you're keeping it simple. And remember, we're selling to people. We want to sell to people who value their time more than money. So by keeping it simple, you're simplifying things for them and giving them the reassurance and the peace of mind that everything's going to look good together and arrive at the same time. Now, this next upsell is a photo proof package. So remember, the photo proof package, this is a service. So you do not need to include this in the sale of a product. This is your time. Sometimes photo proofs for customers, the customers who really want photo proofs, the ones who need photo proofs in order to buy from you, it will triple or quadruple the amount of time that it takes to produce an item. So you need to make sure that you are charging for your time, and you do not want to get stuck working with a difficult customer, giving out free photo proofs, and then, something that takes you 10 minutes ends up taking you like 2.5 hours. It's really frustrating, and you can build resentment towards your business and towards your customers if you do that. So it's really better, I found, just to charge for your time time and accept, okay, like people who buy this, they're possibly more likely to be difficult customers. So this payment is going to be worth it for that. You could also call it your difficult customer payment, right? It's the payment that you are getting for working with extra needy people, perhaps. So I found that the customers who really, really want photo proofs are often the customers that take up the most of your time, and we need to charge for our time. So sometimes in certain categories, you will find that customers don't care for a photo proof and only maybe 25% want to see one. And maybe they won't even want changes afterwards. It's just to see it for fun. Now, instead of charging everyone for that time of that service, you, in the price of your listing, we are going to have it separate as a photo proof. This also might allow you to offer sharper pricing on the item itself and then use a photo proof package to charge the customers who want that extra layer of service, just like the rush order fee. So now I'm going to show you my photo proof results. So I started offering this, looks like 2 years into my business, 2018 to 2022, $1,070. Well, that if only 47 sold, that's like nothing, to be honest. I thought this was going to be way higher, but I can tell you that for these photo proofs, it was probably well worth it because I know all my photo proof customers are extra challenging, and they are the types of customers where if they didn't do the photo proof and they didn't like the result, they would have left like really nasty reviews. So a photo proof package is also a way to protect yourself against nasty reviews from customers who can't be pleased very easily. So you're getting their sign off before shipment that they liked it, or before you send through the final digital product that they liked it. And so for this, you are going to charge for your time, and it's going to depend on the amount of work that an item takes. So you're going to have a drop-down menu in the photo proof listing with variations of different item types. So it's going to be called item types. So a photo proof, maybe for a simple logo, could be $10, or maybe a wedding invitation, you might charge $20 for that, because you know which items are going to have more time involved in the back and forth. So, or if you don't know, you will learn quickly. So I do not limit people to a number of proofs per se. So I don't say the photo proof package gives you 2 proofs, because I have found that you don't need to do that if you set boundaries with your communication. The reason you'd want to limit it to 2 proofs or something is if they go back and forth 500 times. That would be the problem. But we can set boundaries through our communication to where we don't really have to limit the number of proofs. And what I mean by that is when you send a proof and they reply, wait 6 to 8 hours to make an adjustment, and then send the adjustment photo, the photo showing your adjustment back to them. Because if they realize, oh, these back and forth, it's not instant. It's not like texting my friend. This is like sending a message and then waiting. And they want their stuff quickly. They probably don't want to spend a week going back and forth with you. So if you wait 6 to 8 hours, they are a lot less likely to make additional frivolous requests. A lot of times, usually they'll make maybe one more request, and then maybe that request will be more thorough, knowing that they're probably not going to make more. So that method I have found is really successful for the photo proof method. So now another way to upsell is by adding a back print to a print on demand order. So this is you can usually only charge like $3 to $4 more for this, but hey, it's something. And it's also great for if you're making apparel yourself. So not necessarily only print on demand. A lot of customers are interested in this, and a lot of shops don't offer it. So think of senior class shirts, family reunion shirts, anything where someone might want a personalized name added. So this is great for setting yourself apart and differentiating your listing from the competition by offering this as an add-on. So you could offer this as a variation within the listing to upsell them within the variation itself, or you could create a separate listing, and that would be more for people who want to buy something, or maybe they bought something and then they message you right away and they say, hey, can you put a name on the back of this? And then you send them this back print add-on. Now the next way to upsell is through offering a frame add-on for a print. And this is when you are actually sending a print to a customer, a physical print. So make sure here, if you do this, that the price is going to cover the additional shipping cost, because it's going to be packaged very differently than just the print itself, and the size and scale is going to be a lot larger. So make sure you have a drop-down menu in variations for the size of the frame and or the print that they're purchasing. So this could be its own listing called like a frame add-on, or you could do it within the listing itself where you're selling the print. So you could do it as a variation where you upsell them within the listing using a variation. Now the customization add-on is another one. I really, really recommend having this within the listing itself and not having it as a separate listing in your shop, like custom request. You are really not going to get people seeking that out, or you're not even get visits on that if you have it as a separate listing. People are actually going to use this upsell, and they're going to buy this upsell if it's within the listings itself. Customers, they might not read the description that customization is an option add-on through a separate listing. So I really recommend building it into the listing through your variations and drop-downs and the personalization text box if that applies. So you're going to see this upsell really, really, really works if you build it into the listing through variations in the personalization text box. It does not really work at all, like very, very well at all, as a separate listing called customization or custom request. So keep it within your product pages, keep it within your current listings. So this is because it makes the choice and the option for personalization more obvious, and you can build that add-on pricing into the pricing of the listing itself. So you'll see, when you'll see more people choose the option if it's within the listing versus if they have to go find a separate listing. So you could title the variation something like wording, or you could have a drop-down menu for Mrs. for $15 and then Mrs. plus a last name for $25. I've seen a lot of shops do this. Things like that work really, really well. But along with the variation drop-down menus, you need to make sure to add that personalization text box in, and you can make it optional where they write in the word that they want. Now, the last way to upsell is through the gift wrap add-on. Or you could include a card in the message. Sometimes people are more interested in that. So this is a great upsell. Even if you already package your items really cute, you can still charge extra for gift wrapping, and I recommend $5. So depending on how you package your items, it might not require anything additional from you, but perhaps a note card with a message included. No one has to know that though, because what they're purchasing with your gift wrapping is the peace of mind that the recipient is going to receive it like a perfectly wrapped gift. So it's going to give them peace of mind that there won't be an invoice in it, that it will be, perfectly appropriate as a gift item. Now, some bonus ideas are a font change fee. This is what I've used. I charged $10 for this before. If they want a font that's different than my default font, that's when I'm cutting out special wood signs. You can also charge for additional lettering beyond the character limit for text. I also do that. And here's my rush order fee. I just wanted to show you this. So $12,357. It's pretty good for paying for inconvenient timing of orders. So now we are going to talk about how to upsell with print on demand and digital products. So adding a back design works for print on demand. Bundling with variations, that works for both. So like saying you're going to add like a resume template plus a cover letter, or just a resume template or just a cover letter, but you're upselling them with a combination. Or you could do selling, just the t-shirt, just the sweatshirt, or the combination of the t-shirt and the sweatshirt. You could do the same thing with mugs, mug, just a tumbler, a mug and a tumbler, you're bundling and upselling them there in the variations. Customization elements within the listing variations also work for both. So that is like charging more to add something custom like a name. Expedited shipping for print on demand, this might be a lot more expensive than normal priority. You might also have to change who you're working with and partnering with for that. Photo proofs for digital, or you could do print on demand as well. The price might be lower than photo proofs for physical handmade products, but you can still charge for photo proofs. Even if it's $5, hey, it's $5. It'll cover your fees for the product plus some. So your Etsy fees for the product plus some. Now, if you need more ideas for ways to upsell, I recommend going to Etsy, typing in add-on fee, and seeing what's there. So let's check it out. Okay, so I'm searching add-on fee, add-on artwork, custom design, personalization, rush my order, advanced design fee, adding text, additional embroidery, design fee, engraving service and engraving add-on, editing services, carving, I don't know what that is, add-ons carving company. A lot of rush order fees, but this gives you an idea of what kind of rush order fees there could be. V-neck line add-on fee, $10. This will give you an idea what within your category you can sell as an add-on fee. So my homework to you after looking at this would be to look up products that you are selling or categories that you are selling within and seeing what add-on fees could apply to those, and see what customers on Etsy are used to seeing as add-on fees for those, because it might give you some ideas that you have not thought of.